In October 2024, Kazpost has made it into the top 5 postal organizations worldwide for business diversification, standing alone with giants like Amazon, DHL, and Nova Post. Just last year, the company turned a profit for the first time in 5 years. By the end of 2023, Kazpost reported nearly 2.5 billion tenge in profit and paid 1.5 billion tenge in dividends to its sole shareholder, Samruk-Kazyna joint stock company. And a year before that, in the fall of 2022, Asel Zhanasova took the reins as the National Postal Operator CEO. I'm Uliana Ashimova, and this is The Profile, a program by Silkway TV channel. Here, we don't ask questions and get answers. We delve deeper to uncover the stories behind the people whose work truly makes a difference. I was just another leader who wouldn't accomplish. Asel Zhanasova will share the story of how change unfolded in Kazpost. If they didn't deliver, we had to part ways. And what has changed in Kazpost? Kazpost is moving beyond the traditional postal service model. The robot pulls up, picks up the cart, and does the loading himself. What challenges does the head of Kazpost face every day? Letting people go isn't an option. Is that a company directive or is it your personal conviction? It's more of a personal responsibility. I always tell my team, if we don't deliver in time, the child remains without diapers. Asel Zhanasova, the chair of the board at Kazpost, is a Cambridge University graduate, having studied on the prestigious Bolashak Presidential Scholarship. She worked as Vice Minister of Trade at the National Bank and the Astana International Financial Center. Good to see you, Asel. Good to see you too. We are at the logistics center in Astana now, and there's already been news about it. You mentioned it yourself, that a pilot project in partnership with Toshiba is going to be implemented here. Could you tell us more about what this project entails and how it will benefit Kazpost and especially its customers? Thanks. Just last week, we signed a Japanese government grant with Toshiba company. Toshiba is our technological strategic partner, and this logistics center is the heart of our postal operations. Every day it handles up to 100,000 parcels, so speed and efficiency is key point for us. We're looking to integrate sorting technologies and automate the warehouses with a big focus on robotics. And how exactly will that work? We'll be increasing productivity. For us, the key factor is speed. Speed in processing at the warehouses. Right now, as you can see, we have these carts waiting for people to work through other parcels. There aren't enough workers, and trucks are lined up waiting to be loaded. For instance, we have a cart that's ready, processed, and waiting to go to the Turkestan region. But it's just standing here, waiting for someone to pick it up and load it onto a truck. We are introducing robots to eliminate that weight. The robot pulls up, picks up the cart, and does the loading itself. It knows which cart it is, has a tag that shows its destination, loads it onto the truck, and that speeds things up. How much faster are we talking? Right now, it takes an average of 3 hours, sometimes up to 6 hours, especially at night. When volumes are high and we are loading one big truck, we aim to cut that time down to 30 minutes. From several hours to half an hour. Exactly. In Almaty, we're rolling out a sorting line too. There, we want to bring the time down to just 10 minutes, so that every truck can keep moving without a hitch. Asel, we are at the end of 2024 now. Back in early 2023, you mentioned that a development strategy for the national operator had been established. By the end of 2023, the company had finally turned a profit and even paid dividends to its shareholder. What about this year? What are the financial indicators? Can we discuss them yet?
На самом деле, да, 23-й год был такой динамичный для нас. Стоял большой вызов после долгих лет убытков компании. До сих пор у нас.
Absolutely. 2023 was a dynamic year for us with some big challenges.
Когда компания более-менее.
After years of losses, we've still got an anti-crisis plan in place to bring the company up to a level where it can start competing more efficiently with international players.
Потому что видим, что
This year, we're aiming to keep up the momentum because we're seeing a huge surge in e-commerce shipments entering Kazakhstan. They've increased by 143%.
объемы посылок, которые заходят.
The growth is remarkable. Volumes of shipments are up, and 49% of them are heading to rural areas.
Видим активность в развитии.
This shows that e-commerce is really taking off in the countryside. People there are making purchases now, which is a good sign.
Жителей это радует.
Every day, our shareholder, Samruk-Kazna, sets targets for profitability and financial outcomes.
Прибыльными финансовые результаты.
However, as you know, Kazpost is the only administrative link that connects cities and states with rural areas.
Который сегодня связывает города с селами.
We serve nearly 7 million rural residents, no other business ventures into those areas.
И никто из бизнеса туда не идет.
It's not profitable business in rural areas, so we constantly grapple with a dilemma. Do we prioritize financial profitability or fulfill our social obligations?
Либо же
How do you navigate this dilemma on a daily basis?
специальные обязательства, которые мы должны оказывать.
Daily balances, for example, newspaper delivery to rural areas, our rates haven't changed since 2017.
Вот, допустим, доставка газет до сел. У нас тарифы не менялись.
But we've got annual salary indexations and rising fuel prices, which push costs up by about 30% every year.
Рост цен на бензин. Затраты у нас растут достаточно, на уровне 30% ежегодно.
To cover these costs, we use our profitable services to offset losses from unprofitable ones such as newspaper delivery, pension payments, and allowances.
Убыточных сервисов. Это в основном доставка газет, доставка...
Essentially, we are the only bank and financial institution in rural areas, providing crucial financial infrastructure.
Сельское население. У нас там банкоматы, мы содержим финансовую инфраструктуру.
We have ATMs and separate cash-in-transit vehicles that bring cash to rural areas.
Довозят наличность в сельские населенные.
But doesn't the government subsidize part of these services?
Нет, в этом году нам...
Now we are operating without any government support, relying solely on the profitability from our parcel business.
За счет прибыли, которую мы оказываем посылочного бизнеса.
We are the biggest supplier of diapers to the regions from the social service portal. You're talking about the diapers provided to vulnerable populations through government assistance, right?
Да.
Exactly. We deliver diapers. It's really important for us to make sure they're delivered on time, because I always tell my team, if we don't get them there, the child will be without diapers and without nutrition. We also deliver baby food. We have to think about every child waiting for a diaper, every person waiting for their pension. We serve 1 million people each month by bringing pensions and benefits right to their doorsteps, because many people can't go out. We are the link to this part of the population. It's essential for us to keep the shipments, money and services flowing without interruption.
услуги наши.
Everything operates 24/7 here? Yes, it's 3 shifts 24/7. We maintain the same high level of efficiency during the night shift. So the warehouse runs with the same intensity at night as it does during the day?
Ежедневно
For instance, today we're getting around 20,000 shipments on average. In Almaty, it's 80,000. There have been times when it's been as high as 150,000 in September.
это много факторов.
Well, we're getting ready because there are so many factors to consider. Snowstorms, delays in aviation, trucks getting cancelled due to the road closures. When we talk about the company's development, it's not just about cost optimization. I imagine you've managed to achieve some solid profits after years of losses, but also through attracting investment. That's how businesses typically thrive. Speaking of the national postal operator, do you have plans to attract investments, whether they are international or from domestic sources? Who are these investors? And more importantly, what do you plan to spend the investments on? What's your pitch to potential investors today?
Казпочта, она перестает быть
Kazpost is moving beyond the traditional postal service model.
крупный логистический.
We are transitioning into a major logistics postal operator in the region.
Значит, если
Traditionally, we only handled volumes from other postal operators like China Post, just receiving their shipments.
мы могли только принимать объемы китайских,
But there are other logistics players transporting goods, especially from e-commerce platforms,
особенно товары электронные,
like online stores.
По правилам мы не могли их принимать, обрабатывать и доставлять. Что мы сделали?
Exactly, online stores.
Продукт такой.
According to the rules, we weren't allowed to accept, process, and deliver these goods.
Почтовые потоки, тем самым.
So we've been innovating, introducing a product called cargo to mail.
И сегодня обрабатываем большую.
We are integrating logistics flows into postal ones, significantly boosting the volume of incoming shipments and transit.
Работаем с крупными перевозчиками.
Now we are handling a substantial amount.
Наверное,
We are a key customs broker at the border, working closely with major carriers.
это YTO Express.
This year, one of our big initiatives is a major logistics hub in China, YTO Express, one of the world's biggest logistics companies, invested 200 million.
Крупного экспресс-перевозчика в Центральной.
We've established a joint venture for transportation between China and Central Asia, creating a major express carrier in the region.
TikTok, да, и по американским.
We are starting with shipments for platforms like Temu, and more are on the way, including Shein, TikTok, and American products, as they are global carriers.
У нас, так как объемы растут.
We've developed a unified shipping solution for Central Asian countries. That's the first step.
Это внедрение инноваций.
Now, the next phase involves scaling up.
И помещения мы совместно
Since volumes are increasing, we need more warehouse facilities.
линию.
That means enhancing sorting efficiency and incorporating innovative technologies.
До этого
In Almaty, we've set up a fully automated sorting line.
Казахстан. То есть
You see, the logistics competition isn't just within Kazakhstan.
Казахстана в Центральную Азию это 45 дней занимает.
Previously, goods were routed through Latvia Post from China to Kazakhstan, taking around 45 days.
Наши объемы
Now, we've cut out those indirect roads.
непрямые потоки.
All goods from China are coming directly into Kazakhstan, including AliExpress and Alibaba, which used to route through other countries but are now coming straight to us.
Сегодня завозят напрямую в Казахстан. Плюс к этому
Plus, we've secured 9 transit countries through Kazakhstan.
Казахстан.
Asel, what was going through your mind when you stepped into your new role? Being a vice minister is a big deal, of course, but here you're the one in charge. Plus, it was a rather challenging role given the Kazpost's condition at the time. How did you feel about that?
Ну, да, на самом деле, когда ты первый руководитель, есть операционные.
Honestly, being CEO means dealing with operational issues every single day.
Были много социальных вопросов.
When I started, there were a lot of public dissatisfaction, social problems, and big issues to tackle.
С другой стороны, я вот сама
But maybe it's because of my background in math and physics. I love solving problems, especially once when you look at the struggling asset and think, how can we turn this around in a short time frame?
как вытащить ее за год, за такие сроки.
Have you set a time frame? I set one for myself. We needed to pay salaries, keep the company afloat, and support our people. Everyone has families, homes, and kids relying on them. For the first 7 months, there were a lot of pushback. People didn't believe anything could change. To them, I was just another leader who wouldn't deliver. There were so little trust, and when we started talking about new services, the resistance was palpable.
Начали говорить, мы будем развивать.
They would say, why? We are a traditional postal service.
Вот мы традиционно
We handle newspapers and letters. That's what we do.
такое
Where was the resistance coming from? What level of staff?
уровня руководители были.
It came from all levels, managers and employees alike. In some regions, we even saw open sabotage. And given how large the country is, there are cultural differences to consider. Each region requires its own approach. Over the year, I visited every site we have. That was step 1, communication.
Во-первых, это доведение, это коммуникация.
The second step, which wasn't any easier, was introducing KPIs for managers.
KPI.
Financial metrics were a key part of that.
Финансовый показатель это был
Previously, no one was tracking expenses.
считать расходы.
It was this old government mentality where profit doesn't really matter. But here, we needed a different mindset.
Прибыль же
We taught people to treat company finances like their personal ones, to know where the money is coming from and where it is going.
доходы ваши и расходы.
So they had to adapt from a government-style approach to working like they were part of a national company.
Ваша зарплата.
Exactly. We emphasized that their income and salaries weren't just tied to profits, but also to how efficiently we spent money. Every penny started to count. We built a system where each regional manager was accountable for their own KPIs. If they didn't deliver, we had to part ways. There was no room for inefficiency. Did you end up letting a lot of managers go?
Мы попрощались.
Yes, quite a few. Some regions were in crisis, and we didn't have the luxury of time. Regional managers are responsible for thousands of people, so we had to make changes quickly.
И нам
Did you promote people from within Kazpost, or did you bring in external hires?
вообще мы стараемся принцип меритократии, да, принцип справедливости.
We try to follow the principle of meritocracy, fairness above all.
Возможность внутреннему потенциалу расти, потому что
We start with internal competitions to give our staff the opportunity to grow. Over these past 2 years, I've realized how specialized postal work is.
хорошо. Есть,
It takes a deep understanding.
которые понимают.
We found young, motivated employees who are eager, full of ideas, and ready to work hard.
Понимаем. У нас сейчас мы
We've been promoting them.
филиал
Right now, all the regional branch leaders come from our internal talent pool.
резерва. У нас есть крупные хабы.
We are working on developing major logistics hubs, including aviation hubs.
Совместно. Почему? Потому что у нас есть
Why aviation? Because Kazakhstan has a huge potential in this area.
опыт у нас с туркестанским аэропортом. Мы
We've already had success with Turkestan Airport, where we localized cargo routes from China and Turkey.
в Туркестанской области мы поработали над тарифами.
We worked on adjusting airport tariffs and optimizing roads.
Потому что когда крупные международные перевозчики, куда они смотрят?
You see, when big international carriers choose where to operate, they look at the entire package: airport conditions, accessibility to railways, air and road transportation.
Тебе с крупным инвестором, турецким инвестором,
Right now, we are focused on Aktobe, where we are partnering with a major Turkish investor.
Долларов они инвестируют в аэропортах.
We are in the process of finalizing a $25 million agreement to turn the Aktobe airport into a large logistics hub.
Центральноазиатский регион.
This will primarily handle Turkish cargo destined for Central Asia.
Будем крупный логистический хаб.
In addition, there is Almaty, where we are planning a major logistics hub at the airport there.
Выстраивать такой северный хаб.
In Astana, we're working on formalizing a land plot for Kazpost to create a northern hub for Kazakhstan.
Работаем в комплексе с местными.
Of course, we're competing with airports in neighboring countries, so we are working closely with local authorities and international carriers to create hubs that attract cargo traffic.
Где будут останавливаться.
This is where we make our money.
И далее это наш хлеб.
Once we bring in volumes, we start earning through customs processing, transportation, transit, the whole journey from the first mile to the last mile, which is sorting.
Это сортировка.
I always say it doesn't matter how fancy your warehouses are if they're sitting empty.
Ну, это не рабочий механизм.
That's why we are taking a holistic approach, focusing on securing cargo, building volume, and maintaining strong relationships with freight carriers.
Грузоперевозчиками, которые
At the end of the day, they will go with whoever offers the best deal. So we need to make sure we are there to go partner for the long haul.
всегда у Казахстана был
We'll know we've succeeded when major carriers start marking Kazakhstan on their maps
у себя на карте,
and recommend Kazakhstan to others.
и при этом будут говорить своим партнерам, друзьям, да, что
Exactly, when they are telling their partners and colleagues that Kazakhstan handles goods quickly, efficiently, and reliably.
прям ключевой момент, потому что
This is a critical time for us.
методы, каналы передачи
Traditional shipping routes are struggling due to the geopolitical climate, and that opens up a real opportunity for Kazakhstan to step in and take over some of the transit flow.
Вот транзит. Мы сегодня вот первый транзит.
In fact, today we sent our first transit shipment to Turkmenistan, and that was a huge success. No one expected it to be this fast, just 14 to 15 days.
И переговоры с Арменией.
We're also in talks with Armenia, and we are planning to manage Chinese shipments to Armenia overland as a pilot project.
И забирать. Есть такой рейтинг, Всемирный почтовый союз ежегодно оценивает деятельность почтовых.
The Universal Postal Union publishes an annual ranking that assesses the performance of postal operators in every country.
В 2022 году рейтинг, кстати, вышел
Each nation has its place on the list.
в 2023 год, потому что они делают большой.
For instance, the 2024 ranking reflects data from 2023 due to the extensive audit process involved.
И
Back in 2022, we were in the third tier, somewhere around 70th place.
те более развитые.
But by last year, we had moved up to the first tier, ranking among the top 50 countries worldwide.
И первый эшелон.
Sure, we're still at the lower end of that list. But this is just a beginning for you. Exactly. We've only at the start of our journey, yet we've already broken into the top 50 postal operators in the world. It's proof that we're heading in the right direction. Managing a business across Kazakhstan's vast distances must come with its own set of challenges, especially with unreliable internet in remote areas.
Казахстана в отдаленных районах.
Do you have a plan to tackle these issues,
Решать
and how long might it take?
в их отрезках.
Да, содержание именно.
Absolutely. Running operations in the regions is incredibly expensive.
Пытаемся выстроить бизнес так, что
We're trying to set things up so that every service, especially the essential ones, at least breaks even.
факт, что
Over the past 2 years, we've raised wages for production staff by 50%, which is a significant expense.
производственного персонала.
On top of that, we're dealing with competition and pricing.
Конкуренция,
Raising rates isn't something that we can do overnight, as the market sets the pace. Some of these rates haven't been updated since 2017, but we'd steadily adjust them to align the market standards.
к рыночным подходам.
Letting people go isn't an option because we're one of the largest employers in these areas.
Так как мы крупный работодатель.
Instead, we're focusing on new business opportunities.
Работаем над запуском новых.
For example, starting next year, we plan to launch a service for delivering medicines and medical supplies.
Лекарственных изделий.
We already have the infrastructure for storage and transportation, and we can reach even the most remote areas.
Регионы.
It's essential to make sure our transportation and warehousing resources are fully utilized. Every road, every square meter needs to pay for itself.
Тот же маршрут.
We're also actively competing in tenders to secure more business and increase volumes.
Собирать дополнительный объем.
Why do you say layoffs aren't an option? Is it a company directive or is it your personal conviction?
Что это самое, наверное, легкое, когда ты можешь.
It's more of a personal responsibility.
Нужно попробовать.
The easiest path would be to cut staff, but I feel it's our responsibility to develop the talent we already have and give people opportunities to work.
Рабочие места, создавать.
That's why we're focusing on creating new jobs and innovative solutions, particularly for the regions.
Разные способы, чтобы
We're finding ways to not just stay afloat, but also turn losses into profits.
прибыль. И
And so far, it's working. It will just take some time.
какое-то время.